Somewhere in the past, long before van life became a trend, people were already trying to do the impossible. They looked at ordinary vehicles, compact cars, off-road trucks, even industrial platforms, and asked the question that sounds absurd today. What if we turn that into a home? Not a comfortable, modern motorhome built by a huge company. A real home, a kitchen, a bed, sometimes a bathroom, all squeezed into machines that were never designed to carry that kind of life. And the result was an entire golden era of strange brilliance. Vintage truck campers and motorhomes so unconventional that they feel like engineering jokes. Until you remember, they were real. Today on Timeless Treasures, we're traveling back to uncover 10 of the strangest vintage truck campers ever built. Machines that push the limits of design, packaging, and basic physics. Number 10. A camper built on the absolute last vehicle you would ever trust with a home. The Volkswagen Beetle. And yet, in the late 1960s and 1970s, a small company looked at the Beetle and decided it was the perfect foundation for a motorhome. They called it the Super Bugger. The concept was pure madness. They cut the Beetle's body behind the front seats and lowered a tiny wood-framed camper shell directly onto the chassis. A sink, a small stove, a minimalist sleeping space, a road trip home for two, decades before minimalist travel had a name. But the problem was obvious the moment you asked it to climb a hill. That Beetle engine, air-cooled, simple, stubborn, was never meant to carry a house. On a good day, it produced around 60 horsepower. With the camper shell added, aerodynamics became non-existent. Crosswinds turned the vehicle into a rolling sail. And braking, especially with older drum systems, was less like stopping and more like praying with both hands on the wheel. Still, the Super Bugger represents something timeless. The human desire to build freedom with whatever tools exist. And because these machines became rare, restored examples can sell for shockingly high prices today. Proof that nostalgia can be more valuable than horsepower. But if putting a camper on a Beetle sounds risky, the next one shows what happens when a major manufacturer tries to build the ultimate factory overlander. Number 9. The Chevrolet Blazer Chalet. In 1976, Chevrolet decided people shouldn't have to buy a truck and then figure out how to add a camper. So they partnered with Chinook, an established RV builder, and created something that still feels like an alternate timeline. A K5 Blazer with a permanently integrated pop-up camper built into the body. This wasn't a slide-in unit you remove later. The cab and living space were connected, allowing you to move from the driver's seat into the camper area. A stove, a sink, an icebox, a compact, factory-built adventure machine. On paper, it was perfect. In reality, it carried a fatal flaw: weight. The camper structure added massive mass high on the vehicle, raising the center of gravity dramatically. And once you put a top-heavy fiberglass camper onto a short wheelbase four-wheel drive chassis, the off-road dream becomes something else. Every rocky trail feels like a slow conversation with gravity. The rear suspension sags. The drivetrain strains. And the sense of tipping never fully goes away. Chevrolet quietly ended the project after a short run. But today, in the era of modern overlanding, surviving examples have become coveted collectibles, because the idea was right, even if the physics were cruel. Now, the next machine looks like it didn't come from the automotive world at all, because it didn't. Number 8. The Ultravan. If you saw one approaching in the late 1960s, you might have assumed an alien craft had been approved for highway use. The Ultravan was designed by David Peterson, an aircraft designer who hated the heavy, boxy motorhomes of the era. So he applied aerospace thinking to RV design. Instead of a heavy steel frame, the Ultravan used aluminum monocoque construction, like an aircraft fuselage without wings. The shape was smooth, rounded, and strangely elegant. Inside, it still managed to fit a kitchen, bathroom, and sleeping space. And its greatest magic was weight. Around 3,400 pounds for a full-size motorhome, lighter than many modern SUVs. But then came the flaw: propulsion. To keep the floor flat and packaging compact, the Ultravan used a rear-mounted, air-cooled flat six sourced from the Chevrolet Corvair. Innovative, yes. Powerful? Not really. The result was a motorhome famous for struggling on long inclines, especially in mountainous regions, where maintaining highway speed became a slow test of patience. Production became complicated once the engine source disappeared, and the Ultravan remained a rare cult artifact. Today, it's the kind of vehicle that feels like a design museum exhibit you can still drive, if you can find one. Now, let's shift to a machine that tried to make motorhomes drive like European sedans. Number 7. The Vixen 21TD. In the 1980s, motorhomes were generally huge, tall, and thirsty. Bill Collins, an engineer known for co-design work on the DeLorean, wanted to build something different. A motorhome that drove like a European sports sedan. The Vixen was low, so low it could fit into a standard suburban garage. It had an aerodynamic fiberglass body shaped with wind tunnel thinking, a panoramic windshield, and a center of gravity built for stability rather than sway. Even the drivetrain felt European. A rear-mounted BMW turbo diesel engine paired with a Renault 5-speed manual transmission. Yes, a manual shift motorhome. Because of its shape and lightweight construction, it delivered surprisingly high fuel economy for an RV, numbers that still sound unreal today. But the fatal flaw wasn't mechanical. It was cultural. Traditional RV buyers didn't want to shift gears in a vehicle that felt like a low-slung submarine. They wanted big living rooms and automatic transmissions. And the roofline was so low that standing inside required a pop-up section, which alienated the exact buyers most likely to spend money on RV comfort. The Vixen wasn't wrong. It was simply too early for the market. Only a few hundred were built, and today it's a cult object for people who love engineering that ignores convention. Now we move to a vehicle that became legendary for off-grid reliability. Number 6. The Toyota Sunraider 4x4. Long before modern influencers built luxury adventure vans, the Sunraider was already doing the job with a simple formula. Toyota's indestructible pickup chassis, paired with a lightweight molded fiberglass camper shell. Unlike wood-framed campers that can leak and rot, the Sunraider's fiberglass construction was famous for durability and weather resistance. Compact footprint, real four-wheel drive, trail capability that could embarrass larger RVs. But early versions carried a terrifying mechanical flaw that became infamous. Some models overloaded Toyota's original rear axle setup, including a deceptive dual-wheel arrangement sometimes called foolies. Under real weight, water, gear, structure, the stress could become catastrophic. Stories circulated of axle failures at highway speed, leading to dangerous incidents. Toyota eventually issued recall upgrades, including stronger, full-floating axles in many cases, transforming the Sunraider into the machine it always wanted to be. And today, restored, upgraded Sunraiders command surprisingly high prices because they represent the holy grail of vintage overlanding: compact, capable, and Toyota tough. Next, we enter a chapter of RV history built by people who made forklifts. Number 5. The Clark Cortez. Before the modern motorhome industry even fully existed, Clark Equipment Company, known for heavy-duty industrial machines, decided to build an RV. And they built it with industrial logic. Instead of a wooden box bolted to a truck frame, the Cortez was a fully integrated all-steel unibody vehicle. Even more surprising, front-wheel drive. By pulling from the front and removing the need for a rear drive shaft tunnel, Clark achieved something RVs desperately wanted: a low, flat floor that allowed adults to stand comfortably inside. Packaging brilliance. But the same industrial mindset created its fatal flaw: weight. Clark built it like a tank, around 7,000 pounds. Early engines struggled, performance was slow, and because rust-proofing standards were not what they are today, steel construction in salted winter climates could become a nightmare. Heavy, slow, rust-prone. And yet, the Cortez remains historically important because it was decades ahead in layout thinking. Now, what happens when a giant like General Motors decides to enter the market? They don't enter quietly. Number 4. The GMC Motorhome. Introduced in 1973, the GMC Motorhome looked like it drove out of a science fiction film. Unlike many RVs that borrowed a chassis and bolted a house on top, GM engineered this motorhome with a coherent design philosophy: front-wheel drive, using a powerful V8 drivetrain derived from Oldsmobile's advanced front drive platform. Low profile, sleek shape, tandem rear wheel setup with air suspension. It rode with surprising comfort, and it could cruise at highway speed like a true long-distance machine. Many people still argue it was the best driving motorhome ever produced. But then, the fatal flaw came from outside the vehicle: geopolitics. The 1973 oil crisis hit. Fuel prices surged. Long lines formed at gas stations. And suddenly, a large V8 motorhome averaging single-digit fuel economy became the exact thing nobody wanted. Production ended in the late 1970s. Yet the GMC motorhome refused to die culturally. It developed one of the most passionate communities in the RV world. Modernized restorations sell for serious money today because brilliant design ages well, even when history interrupts it. Now we shift from factory engineering to something even stranger: a camper built from plans you could order and build yourself. Number 3. The Boon Bug. In March 1974, Popular Mechanics published do-it-yourself plans for a home-built camper designed by Robert Q. Riley. The concept was wild. Take a used Volkswagen bus chassis, strip it down, and build a brand new body using plywood, foam, and fiberglass resin. The result looked like a lunar rover, angular, futuristic, and aggressive, like NASA decided to go camping. It was affordable, light, and inventive. But its fatal flaw was brutally simple. The quality depended entirely on the builder. Seal the plywood poorly, and rain turns the structure into a sponge. Build it carelessly, and durability becomes questionable. And in a serious crash, wood offers very little protection. The Boon Bug represents a fascinating period where people were willing to turn imagination into highway vehicles, sometimes safely, sometimes not. Surviving examples are rare today, and collectors value them for their retro, futuristic charm. Next, we move from space-age DIY to something that defined American family vacations for decades. Number 2, the Dodge Travco. If you road tripped in America from the 1960s through the 1980s, you probably saw a Travco. It had a distinctive two-piece fiberglass body mounted onto a heavy-duty Dodge chassis. It offered real luxury for its era: air conditioning, kitchens, bathrooms, turning travel into something closer to a moving home. The Travco was a leap forward, but it carried a flaw that anyone can feel the moment they drive it: mass. Some Travcos weighed well into 5 figures, and driving one could feel like steering a slow commercial ship. The steering could be vague. The brakes demanded commitment. Body roll on mountain roads could be unsettling. It was comfortable inside, but controlling that comfort at speed required steady nerves. Still, the Travco remains beloved today. Restorers chase them, and fully restored examples can command strong prices. Because nostalgia is powerful, and the Travco is pure nostalgia on wheels. And now we reach the final entry. The camper that looks like someone tried to build a split-level suburban home in the bed of a pickup. Number 1, the Rey Tri-Level camper. Slide-in campers were popular in the late 1960s, but space was always limited. Rey's engineers looked at that problem and responded with an idea so extreme it feels like a dare. What if a truck camper had 3 separate floors? And they built it. A top-level cab-over bedroom, a mid-level living and dining area, and a lower rear kitchen and entry zone. An architectural marvel. A 3-level house sitting in a truck bed. But the fatal flaw is obvious the moment you think about physics. Weight. The camper shell alone could weigh around 3,000 pounds. Chuck suspensions of that era were never designed to carry a 3-story structure. Loaded up, the rear end would sag dramatically, the front tires could feel light, and the center of gravity climbed into dangerous territory. At highway speed, the idea of a sudden gust of wind or a sharp turn becomes unpleasant. And yet, this camper became legendary precisely because it exists at all. It proves that there was a period when engineering creativity wasn't filtered by fear. People built the strange thing simply because it could be built. From tiny beetles struggling up hills with homes on their backs, to aerospace-inspired aluminum motorhomes, to front-drive steel experiments, to a 3-level pickup camper that laughs at physics. This era proves something timeless. Human ingenuity has no limits. Sometimes that ingenuity is brilliant. Sometimes it is terrifying. And often, it is both. If you want a short answer to why vintage campers are so fascinating, it's this: they weren't built to follow trends. They were built to solve dreams.